we're gonna jump into what I've been watching, man. So, it's per usual, no shortage of great content in the TV and film world, man. Had the pleasure of checking out several things this week, but the main two I'm going to talk about is One Night in Miami, which is the theatrical debut. Let me say this right: theatrical directorial debut for Regina King. She has directed TV before, so this isn't her first time directing, but it is her first time directing a theatrical release. So congratulations to her. She's also a fellow Capricorn. Clap it up. You know what I'm saying? Fellow Capricorn.
Yeah, I thought
Capricorn.
Whatever. Whatever.
So yeah, man, she's January 15th. Her birthday was this past week.
Hold on. Was James just hating again?
He was. But you see, I just sidestepped that bullshit. You see what I did?
Damn.
So anyway,
every time I jump on Twitter, somebody's birthday, and I'm like, damn, how many of y'all is it?
There's a lot of us, man. It's a lot of us, man. Okay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So happy belated birthday to Regina King. You know what I mean? And dude, what a great birthday gift from her to us in that film. One Night in Miami, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it is basically it's a slightly fictional account of an incredible night where icons Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown gathered discussing their roles in civil rights movement and cultural upheaval of the 60s. So they actually did meet. They did link up. They all knew each other. That actually happened, but obviously. Yep. Yeah, but every detail of the conversation, that and the third, some of it isn't all that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's one of those what they say at the beginning of it, based off of the true events.
Based off of true events. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But regardless of that, man, and let me bring this up on the screen for those fans who are actually watching as opposed to listening. First of all, let me just say that it is an excellent movie, and I highly recommend that any of you who are just looking for something great to see, I definitely recommend you checking out this movie. All the accolades that it is so far, it's absolutely worthy of all the praise. The acting, the directing, absolutely amazing. But give it up for these young dudes, man.
Can I just say the I don't know his name yet, but the one they cast to play Muhammad Ali, man.
Yes,
he amazing job with the phonics of his voice, the way he was acting, the facial expressions. He killed that role. Now, I'm not saying he was Will Smith and Ali, but he was.
His name's Eli Gorey.
Eli Gorey. He killed that. Malcolm, the guy who played Malcolm X too. He did a phenomenal job.
And he's not even. I think he's not like, dude. When you hear him speak, oh my god! Like when you hear him speak, you don't even hear the same person. Like it's scary how well he did Malcolm's voice, considering that he's not even from the States.
Where's that from? UK?
I think so.
UK? Yeah.
I'm a little different.
You say you're a little different about what?
I'm a little different with my perspective.
Sure, let's go.
I think it was definitely a dope movie. Like I loved it. I love the contrast of the characters' perspectives. I love the depiction of the characters. I love the light that they had everybody in, the situations that they had them in, everything. The only thing was, being that we've already had, excuse me, and this is no slight at all. This is just, this is some nitpicky bullshit. But being that, we've already had a Malcolm and we've already had an Ali, and the Malcolm and Ali that we've had are legendary, cannot be touched. So the whole time I'm watching these two brothers, and like I said, no slight to them, it's a great movie, but I'm looking at it with a side eye the whole time, like, yeah, but you ain't Denzel though. Oh, but that just ain't Willie though. But it, you know, like I said, it's some nitpicky bullshit. But it was a great movie, man. Great movie.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny. I don't think. For me, I didn't necessarily feel that at all. I think what's dope sometimes about having an actor who isn't as well known play people who are well known. You don't hear and see them like when they're portraying this other person. Like I definitely when I watched Ali, because Ali was a solid movie. It wasn't necessarily like I didn't put it on the same level I did like Malcolm X and other biopics, but it was definitely a solid movie. But like, I don't know. It's most of the time when I see a Will Smith movie or a Denzel Washington movie, and they're amazing actors. They ultimately sound the same. They sound and feel still very much like themselves, even in some of these other roles or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like yes, yeah. Like I can hear it, but I can still hear Will because we've been listening to this dude since he was in his teens. So it's like I still hear him. Where this guy, because he's so new, like for example, the first thing I saw him in was actually on Ballers on HBO, and one, he's like, you know, yeah, the person he's playing is an athlete as well, but that's where the similarities stop. So it was kind of easier to buy in, outside of the fact that he looks nothing like him. But in terms of like the body language, in terms of the vocal tone and stuff, and the different things he was doing, it didn't take long for me to be like, oh, yo, he really embodied this dude.
You talking about the guy who played
Ali?
Oh, Ali?
Who played Cassius Clay? Yeah.
Oh no, I thought he was dope.
That's what I'm saying. I thought he was dope. And then,
Will is Will, but you know what? I always have a reservation about Will Smith when I'm watching his movies because I'm used to seeing the corny Will. So I'm impressed because he translates from the corny Will into somebody else. So that's why I always give him props when I see him pull off something like Ali. You know what I mean? Or when I see him pull off something like Enemy of the State. You know what I mean? Because this ain't the type of Will that I'm used to seeing. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's goofy. You know what I mean? And when he doesn't do goofy and he does something else, I think I give him a little bit more props for pulling it off.
If you recall, though, his first role was a serious role. He played a gay dude.
6 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah,
I know.
He's like a con artist.
That showed his range, but when you do a biopic and you pulling off another person or somebody as famous that somebody else knows, if you do that extremely well, it kind of, to me, my opinion, it sets you apart. Like everybody saw Jamie Foxx acting before as well, but when you translate from the acting that he was doing and then he does Ray, it's like, oh, he's transcended to a whole nother level. So that's what I mean when I say the Will Smith that I know versus the Will Smith that actually pulled something off. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I thought that he did a phenomenal job. The movie wasn't all about him, first of all. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And that's the part that I love about it, that it wasn't all about Ali. I think if he had to do a full Ali movie, then you can make a full comparison to Will Smith.
For sure.
You know what I mean? But I think that he did a good job of it with his version of it. And you knew off the break, he embodied the characterisms and the charisma from Ali with his version of the role. So I thought he did an excellent job when it came to that. But who I was mostly impressed with is Leslie Odom Jr.
And he actually sung the songs.
Yeah, because I remember him in Hamilton. He killed Hamilton.
He killed Sam Cooke. The scene at the show when Malcolm was recalling I forgot what night he was recalling, dude.
Yeah, when he did change
all the feels, bro. Goosebumps right now, just thinking about that scene, man. Like, and it's wild because as a musician, I'm watching the scene and all I'm thinking is what's so dope about it, right? Like, you know that the people in the front can hear him. So before they even get to the part showing what it was like from the back of the room, because instantly I'm like, hey, Young, the fact that he getting this whole crowd behind him, but they can't hear him in the back, but they still with him. And so when they basically have the camera go through the crowd, and the further it gets away, like his voice fades. Right. I was like, "Hey, Regina, man, that concept right there." I was like, "Yo, I don't think I've ever seen anyone do that on film." Where it's like the further the camera pulls away or whatever, they're basically showing you like sonically what it sounds like for the people further back. So shout out to her. Shout out to the person who mixed the sound. Phenomenal scene. That joint was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, man.
Very good. Very, very, very good. But I think Kingsley, what's his name? Kingsley Ben Adir?
Yes. Yep.
The thing about what he brought to the table is you saw the sorrow in him. A lot of people don't know or haven't seen that side of Malcolm X. We saw the strength in Malcolm, and then everybody knows he was killed. But a lot of people don't know the backstory for why his separation and how his separation came from the nation. And you can see that in his role. You know what I mean? Like he was at a crossroads that really didn't have any more options. He still had to walk in the power that he was, but he also had to figure out and navigate his next move for all the people that still followed, reverenced, and looked up to him. And that's what I got from his character that I thought was amazing that we didn't see out of Denzel. What we saw out of Denzel was the power side. You know what I mean? We saw that he had issues towards the late end, and then we saw the murder. You know what I mean?
This to me, you don't really. I'm sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna say you don't really see that side until like the latter half of the film, and it's just a brief period where you really see him kind of his more humble / soft side. Like you get glimpses of it throughout the film, but like from different people's accounts and stuff and different stuff I've read and seen people talk about, a lot of people talk about like how humble or like how sweet like that Malcolm was amongst like his friends. When he was amongst the people he cared about, he was a very softer person that the public didn't necessarily see. And so it was dope to kind of really get a whole film, like a good 2 hours of seeing that side of him. More than anything.
I think what Regina King really did really well with this film is, within this brief moment, almost 2 hour span, and within this basically one scene, they're in a hotel room, the same hotel room the whole time. But within this one night, she was able to transition through all of their different, through their different personalities and different changes in characteristic or whatever. Like you just as y'all were discussing how Malcolm had a softer side when he was around his friends as opposed to the side he had on the stage. She did a good job of showing all of their different demeanors. That's what
Right. And shout out to Aldous Hodge, who played Jim Brown. This brother has been in a lot of movies, probably most notably, a lot of people know him from playing MC Ren and Straight Outta Compton, but largely he hasn't seen like any major roles. He's always kind of been in these smaller roles, so it was dope to see him really get to flex his acting chops in this too. You know what I mean? So salute to him.
You know what? And I'm gonna say two more things about it, and I'm gonna move on from it. But the thing when watching after the movie, I kind of felt a little sad, and the reason why is because I know the outcome of Malcolm prior to that, after that night. And the same way I know what happened with
Sam Cooke.
After that night.
They were there within a year.
Yeah. So while it was dope to say, also say this too, because there was a crossroads that happened with Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali. Of course, the movie shows how he kind of introduced Cassius Clay into the nation to when he became Muhammad Ali. But when things went sour between Malcolm X and the nation, it put Muhammad Ali in a bad spot, and almost like he had to choose between the newfound nation that he was in versus, and that one scene where you saw him at the end and he was being introduced. to the crowd and everything. He looks over the empty chair. You know what I mean? Signified Malcolm X not being there. You know what I mean? And that to me was a sour point in their whole relationship, which was sad to see because, you know, we know the outcome of what happened afterwards. So, phenomenal movie, great movie. And honestly, when I see the four of them together, it reminds me of us. Like we all got our own strengths.
Yes.
We all got our own, you know what I mean, stubbornness to us. We all got our own, you know, way of seeing things, and the way that they clashed. You know what I mean? That was us. You know what I mean? We clashed often through all these years and knowing each other. We clashed.
It is us.
Right. It's us. But we always found a common ground. We always found that position of love that we have for each other to say, you know what, I'm gonna let you be you. This is where I stand, or whatever, and we still gonna come together. You know what I mean? So that was good to see. You don't see many films like that where all of them at the end come to an understanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You not agree. You know what I mean? But you are who you are. You know what I mean? And y'all both share the same purpose and the same type of not purpose, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
we have a common thought.
We all care about the people. We all care about the people. We all care about the progress of our people. We just don't necessarily agree on the path to get there. But the beautiful thing that I think we all forget is that there is no one way to get to this goal. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And the fact of the matter is, like, a lot of times people want you to get help. They want you to help the cause in the way that they believe the cause needs help. But the reality of it is you have a different way of seeing things because of your experience. And so you might have found another way to get to that goal. But it's important for everybody to remember that we're all working toward the same thing. We just all got different paths on how we get there. And not everybody has to be on the exact same page. That's not necessary. Unity doesn't always mean that, like, yo, we're all doing the exact same thing and like the exact same things. It just means that, yo, we ultimately have that one common goal, and we're some of us on different paths and journeys to get there. But the goal is to get there together.
I feel, and I definitely agree. I feel like the film did a great job of highlighting the different, like you said, the different perspectives of each of the brothers, and not demeaning any one of their perspectives, like showing, like you said, like there are levels to everything, and within the Black American struggle, you have to understand that everybody's fight is not the same. And if we could get to that understanding, I mean, harmony will come next, but you know, that's definitely easier said than done.
Absolutely. So look, to keep it moving, obviously I'm definitely over time on my segment, so I'm gonna just say something brief about Wanda Vision.
Just go ahead and talk it through, because I don't know, I'm not gonna take long for mine, so go ahead.
Okay, all right, appreciate it. So yeah, man, it definitely so obviously it didn't hit me like nowhere near the level that the film that we just talked about hit me, but I also kind of went into WandaVision knowing what to expect. And so it's really one of those shows that if you know the characters and you also know some of the background and know what the intention of the show is, even if you don't know all of the details, if you understand what the overall concept of the show is and how ultimately, you know, Scarlet Witch's character, Wanda Maximoff, is ultimately living a lie. She's created a lie in this bubble for herself. And it has themes of like shows from like the 50s, the 60s, and all of these things. They do an amazing job recreating those worlds and making it feel like those shows they actually shot in front of real live studio audiences and everything. So that was so those parts of it were dope. They even had the couple who did the song Frozen in the movie Frozen. They basically had them write a kind of like a theme song for every episode in the of the time that show was supposed to be from. So that was super dope. But definitely it was in terms of what my expectations were and based on what I saw, it was a little underwhelming, but I didn't feel like it was trash. I just know that I'm waiting for the payoff. I know that the payoff is supposed to be really high, so I'm being patient with it. And that's about all I'll say about that. I know SHERM was not feeling it.
Man, I'm looking at that shit like, what in the lily white lilac fields am I watching, man? That was the whitest shit I have ever seen.
God.
Like, not saying it was bad. It was very interesting. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but hey, man, I'm not a comic book dude. Per se. I like comic book movies because I like sci-fi shit.
Sure.
But I don't follow the stories as intensely and intricately as Stan does. So I'm looking at this like, what the fuck am I watching?
It seemed like it had like a June Cleaver feel. And 1940s or 50s nostalgia to it. But if it's doing what I think it's doing, it's going to be kind of dark in the end when she wakes up from this dream.
Oh yeah. But that's the thing. It's not even like she's asleep. It's not like I don't think she's asleep per se.
Like
you know what I mean?
Syndrome.
Yo, like, so, and I'm sorry we didn't give spoiler warnings and stuff, but I feel like at this point, if y'all don't know how the internet works, if you see a video that says they're talking about a show and you click on it, you get what you deserve. So
why are you talking about this show?
Yeah, I feel like spoiler warnings in 2021 when you still clicking on videos that have the name of the damn thing.
You put it on yourself.
Right, you deserve what you get, bitch. So anyway, I think you're absolutely right, Cash. Like, it's much dark. I think where it's going is going to be way darker than a lot of people anticipate. Mainly because that she's created the lie for her to live in, and so the biggest question becomes like, so all of these people that we're seeing are ultimately slaves, right? Like she's controlling them all. That's the crate. Like, so when you see it and you can kind of tell which character's kind of hip because of little things she continues to say, like she knows, you know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting to see how far they go based on like what her role in the comic book is. I
think they did a really good job of giving those little nuggets to make like showing you enough, not giving you a lot of the story, but showing you enough to make you be like, wow, that just happened. Like this, like when the dude fell out at the table. Like it's enough to make you watch the next episode to see like, are they going to tell me why that happened? So it's not a bad show. It's just white. It's just white. White with white.
Right. So there you have it, folks. You know what I'm saying?
That's you got a mayonnaise sandwich, Wonder Bread.
Right. you gotta give it. You gotta get. Go ahead, watch it, and see if it's white for you. See what I did there?
A little mayo. Got a little mayo to it.
But it's not bad. It's all white. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Seriously though. It's for me, it's a solid start. I'm definitely interested to see where it goes. So, but we'll see. Someone came to say hi. It happens. It happens. I love you too. I love you. Family. You gotta love it. It's all right. So that just happened.
Hey,
right?
Schedules, bro.
Hey, it is what it is. So on that note.